Yeah, we got some good parts to go through right now. So hello everyone, welcome to another video with me where I'm actually representing my Minds cap from Japan, and you can kind of see from behind me already this is a very JDM style themed video right now. So many of you have been waiting so patiently for an update on the R33. Good news, we've got a lot to update you all on. My brother has got an amazing selection of car parts. Again, this is something completely different from my E30 build, which is very much secondhand, everything, blah, blah, blah. This car is near enough, everything's brand new. So yeah, there's some good stuff to go through right now. So I'm gonna keep my cap on. I'm probably gonna flip it around this way. I think we should flip it around because my hair is completely a mess right now. You know, with the way the world is right now, barbershops aren't open, so can't really do anything about it, and I'm too busy nowadays as well. So shout out to my boy Hassan, who has offered to cut my hair, but I haven't taken him up on the offer. But without further ado, let's jump into the actual video right now, which is going through my brother's car parts, which I'm hoping it's not echoing too much in here, by the way. You can kind of tell from behind me right now, this is a very, very, very important HKS part. Now, there's a few other bits and pieces all around the table, so let's have a quick look through all the bits, and I'm gonna go into more detail one by one on each individual part. So let's jump into that. So straight away, we're gonna start off by talking about this beautiful arrangement of HKS parts. Now, they're all actually linked with each other. So this big box right here, now this is the HKS VCAM. This is the exhaust cam, so that's for the intake, and this is for the exhaust. We've got a timing belt here as well, and the pulley that goes along with it. So in essence, this is gonna have the cams, both cams from both sides, HKS with the pulley running for it, and the belt running it all as well. So that's a quick look there. Over here, we've got a lot of link G4 setup. So I believe this is some part of the modules. Let me see. So these are some of the sensors over here, some other bits and pieces there as well. We're gonna go into more detail when we actually look at these once I open it all up. I'm not sure what's inside each box, but like I said, gonna go into it. This, I believe, is the injectors for the car. Yep, so that's the fuel injectors. We'll go through that. This is the RB rebuild kit. I believe this might be some kind of an actuator, and oh, there is a very, I think we'll save this part for the end. This part is so pretty. So my brother's been very generous to allow me to, in essence, play around with all of this. So over here we've got some information in Japanese about the cams. Looking nice and pretty. This is just cool to have. And inside here we've got the main cam gear. Now I'm gonna just quickly open this. Oh, that is beautiful. I don't want to get my hands all over it, but I guess it won't really matter too much when whoever's installing it. But oh my gosh. My brother hasn't even had this close of a look into it all just yet. So don't want to drop this. Oh, that is so nice. Beautiful HKS stamp at the bottom as well. Look at the way the light reflects off of it. Alright, I'm gonna slide back into there. So that's basically the cam gear pulley. Now I believe this goes alongside with the exhaust camshaft. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the intake side is actually already included in the VCAM setup. I'm not going to retake this belt out, but you can see it's a HKS belt from the purple outer lip, as well as everything here. So yeah, this is going to be the exhaust side, which, if I remember correctly, is this side here. The intake is here, so that's going to be the VCAM setup. So yeah, this gear this one here connects to this. So, oh, I don't even think my brother's opened this one. Oh my god, let me go get a knife. Put the knife. Have a quick look at this. It's very interestingly packed. Oh, I'm definitely not taking that out. I am 100% not taking this out any more than this. That's the HKS cam for the exhaust side. Oh, right. Gotta close this up properly again. I look at this. I want to look at this document here. So this kind of talks about, okay, so the valve duration. And he's just going into more details about the spec and the timing of it all. This is probably going to be more important for the person who's building the engine, which unfortunately is not going to be me. But at the same time, that's very fortunate because this is a lot to play around with. Then we move over to the big daddy. This little plaque right here. That is so sick. HKS VCAM system. So it goes into BN R33, 33, 34. I honestly think my brother should get all these and just like frame them somewhere. But yeah, you got all these extra bits. This looks like a gasket of some sort. Got the, I'm guessing, an oil feed line and nut and bolt. Look how nicely that is packaged together. Oh my gosh. Right, okay, I'm gonna put this to the side. So you got this, what I can only assume is like an oil feed of some sort line. And underneath here, just honestly, just look at that. Look at how everything's been packaged up together. How nice is that? Again, for the price of this, I wouldn't expect anything less than that. And then inside here, you get an oil filler cap cover there. Oh, there we go. So here is the other cam gear. So you can see it's much thicker, I would say, than the other one. Just look at that. I'm genuinely so blessed that my brother has given me the opportunity to see these bits and pieces like this. Because if you're a true JDM fan, you know about your Skylines, you know just how beautifully crafted these parts are. Not going too crazy. Let's look inside here now. Okay, this is just wiring for everything. Everything's got a packet. It's going to be one loom or another. We might be done with that layer. Oh! Oh! Look at that! Oh my god! Oh, okay. I just had a crisis, as you can all probably hear. Cylinder head cover. Does this open anywhere? No. I don't really feel right opening this. Oh. Just look at that. That is the cylinder head cover at the bottom, and then inside here is going to be the intake cam, which is basically going to be the same as the exhaust cam from the looks of things. So I'm not going to open this up, but yeah, oh, I wish I could just play around with this. So I asked my brother to kind of write something up in regards to all these parts. Now he wrote something up about the VCAM. So what he said was, yes, it is the HKS VCAM, as you all know. It is a step 1 variable cam timing. Now, VCAM is in essence very similar to, you could think of it as like VTEC for Hondas, which is what reference a lot of people use, because with Hondas, it's so present, it's so in your face that you can literally hear it tick over on so many cars. So, as my brother puts it here, it's a variable cam timing which helps produce torque and power, lower down the rev range using voodoo magic. As he put it here, has its own pulley system. He didn't go for the step 2, which requires recessed pistons at the time because he didn't think he was going to be rebuilding his engine. But he's happy to stick with the step 1 setup because it hits the performance goals that he's looking for. Now, a lot of people use the VCAM setup in essence to kind of feel very similar to what a lot of other people do, which is to actually make their engine block board out and in essence become a bigger engine by becoming either a 2.8 or a 3 litre or a 3.2 by using a different bottom end or something like that. Now, with VCAM, what in essence it does is it keeps your engine as a 2.6 litre, but it gives you characteristics of an engine that's much bigger. So as my brother mentioned there, the lower end torque and increasing the top end power, it just, best way to put it is it's bringing out the most out of the RB26 engine. As everyone knows, the RB26 engine is shared between the R32, 33 and 34. With the actual VCAM setup, when it comes to throttle response, when it comes to actually utilizing the engine, that's what it's kind of going for. Getting the best out of these engines is often tricky. A lot of people go for high-end horsepower because a lot of the time the cars are used for brute force, straight line performance. But when you want to enjoy a car at other speeds or, you know, different ways, having that lower end torque really helps. It's, in essence, think of it as having a V8 compared to a straight 6. That V8 torque is usable in so many scenarios, whereas a straight 6 isn't as usable in the same way. You know, look at BMW, for example. A straight 6 BMW doesn't really have anywhere near as much low-end torque as the V8 counterpart. A good example would be a 530i on an E39 versus a 535i, which is a V8. The lower end torque will be a massive difference to use on a day-to-day basis. But that's enough about the VCAM setup. We're going to talk about something else now, so I'm going to pick another box to go through. So annoyingly, the sound, the audio from this video hasn't captured on all these points. So I'm basically going to do a little bit of voiceover, which is actually not too far off from what I was doing all this time. So this is the RB rebuild kit. Now I'm just going to read off basically what this is. This removes the cast sensor, which can cause scatter at high RPM and not give a stable feed to the ECU. That means it takes 2 feeds from the crank and the cam to the ECU using cherry horse sensors, which is a stable, consistent feed to the ECU, which leads to a slightly better performance increase, as well as a more reliable connection between the engine and the ECU. Up next, we basically got the link for Hks ECU setup. So starting off with some of the accessories, believe this is actually the lander sensor, which, yep, there you go. You can see the lander sensors there, and with some extra cables as well. And with the lander sensor, that's basically controlling the exhaust system, and it allows a closed loop to be able to be set up for the fuel system and an accurate fine-tuning for the fueling. This here is now the ECU. Now, as you can see, it's actually been wrapped up quite a lot with bubble wrap, and on the actual ECU, it's got the anti-static cover on top. So I don't want to open it from this because your fingers, you know, you have that little bit of electrical charge which can cause a short. So you definitely don't want to play around with that. Going on from there, I know we've touched on the ECU. We've got the accessories, but it's got a couple of other sensors as well. With the link setup is the air inlet sensor, the boost solenoid, and the pressure sensors for the fuel and oil. And so you can see those bits and pieces just over here. Just bringing them out. Yeah, there's 4 sensors there in total that he's got, along with the whole link set. This ECU is basically the latest one from Link, which is a plug and play solution, and it allows for the DBW kit without the need for additional sensors combined to the previous ECU. Next, we've got the NZEFI, I think it is, or NZEFI 1000cc injectors. My brother explains to me as well, you know, he knows it's overkill, but for the setup that he's going for, it just gives him a bit more headroom and not making the injectors run at maximum capacity or even anywhere close to it, these injectors will be running pretty happy and under stressed. So now we've actually come across to the IIE DBW kit. Now DBW means drive-by-wire, so again linking back to the Link G4X ECU, the drive-by-wire kit removes the OEM throttle setup, so it modernizes the whole setup and becomes pretty much like modern cars nowadays, where everything is via wire and no longer via the cable. And this is a new technology. It removes a number of items from underneath the intake plenum and at the top of the intake plenum. It declutters the area, and combine that with a modern ECU, it can enable a lot of things like flat shifting, cruise control, limit the throttle input depending on your oil temperatures. There's not really any performance gains from this, but it modernizes the car, and that's basically what my brother was going for from this. And this is the basic kit. He's waiting for some other parts from IIE, and then that's basically going to be the complete setup for the drive-by-wire. So with all of this, basically the thing that I'm blabbering on about here is how it all integrates together. The ECU and the injectors and the drive-by-wire, it's all going to be talking to each other. I'm not going to go on about this anymore. It's not as fun when it's voiceover. So it's driving me crazy to think that this doesn't have any audio. This was actually one of my first times looking at this part as well. Now this is the Nismo inlet pipe, and it is beautiful. So as I'm opening up, you can see we've got loads of the bits and pieces. Now I'll put the main piece to the side there, and I thought I'll show you guys all the other pieces as well. So you got the usual, the documentation going on over here, which is all in Japanese basically, so you can't really see much going on there. You've got their traditional cable tie with extra pipe little placement spots, I guess the best way to put it. You got some tubes that they provide, obviously they're going to be used. So you got these elbow pipes as well. They're made out of metal, and here is the main crown jewel. This is the carbon fiber piece, which is so pretty. It is genuinely, if it's so light to hold, but at the same time, the craftsmanship, the way they do the seam on these, it is just purely artistic. The level of detail that they go through is amazing. The inside was a little bit rough, which you can see here. I think when the engine is getting rebuilt, it might actually be smoothed down a little bit on the inside, but not 100% sure on how that's all going to go. But upon speaking to the engine builder, they did say they would like to get that smoothed out just to make sure nothing can go through on the inside of the engine. So it's kind of one of those typical YouTuber scene where you have the issue with audio. I think this has happened to most of the channels that I've ever watched. So I guess it means that I'm finally becoming a proper YouTuber. I did talk about this all in the original time I sat down and did this recording, but I thought I'd just remake this right now. So my brother did mention a few of the bits and pieces that he didn't have the parts for there, so I couldn't really go through them. So what's not at home is the 2865 turbos. So they're pre-owned, but will be rebuilt along with the engine by the engine tuner. The stock manifolds have been ported. The HKS, it's got HKS turbo elbows, HKS actuators, a Rimax equal length downpipe, and the tuner will source some HKS valves and HKS springs. And yes, the engine will be getting rebuilt and becoming a forged 2.6. The specific parts of that will be confirmed later. So it's turning out to be quite a serious build, and yeah, I think my brother's loving it. It's definitely going to be a hell of an experience for him. We've kind of always grown up with this whole idea of, oh man, it was so cool to own cars like this. So it's really nice to see my brother actually getting to fulfill his dreams like this. Again, big thank you to him, not just for working so hard to be able to get to the point to build a car like this, but you know, giving me such free reign over all of his parts. But yeah, I guess that wraps it up. So if you did like this video, please consider subscribing, because you know this build is just only going to get bigger and better. Everyone, please consider subscribing. Like I said, the content about this car is going to be amazing. It's going to be right up there. Please drop a like, because it really does help the video with regards to the awareness and the analytics behind everything. So it does help me out as a YouTuber. And feel free to leave a comment below, because it's always cool to interact with everyone. I'm going to get my brother to actually start replying to comments maybe on his Skyline videos and stuff. But yeah, I think we'll leave it there now. I hope you all did enjoy this, and I'll see you on the next one. Oh, and we've been to see Steve, and there's a nice juicy video coming out with the R33. So yeah, peace out. Bye.